Oh my gosh. Hi everybody. We are back. We're so back. You already know. I'm sorry this took me longer than expected. Under first some impression, I don't know why, I thought that the fourth book, Crowntide, was going to come out like early 2026, like March 2026. I don't know where I got that idea. So I put up a poll being like, hey guys, do you want it in the summer? Do you want it later in the year, like before the next book comes out? Well, it was pretty split. We're compromising right in the middle. It's the end of summer. We're no longer technically in summer. And we're going to talk about Skyshade before the fourth book and before Grimm and Oro. I know, long intro. Can I just say I'm stupid excited for this Grimm and Oro novella double flip situation going on. Let me know if you guys are curious and want like a plot recap deep dive for the novellas as well, because I'm gonna read them either way. I'm actually planning to read them on live reading sprints, so let me know so that I know whether or not I should be taking notes. But of course, I will also get Crowntide up as soon as possible at the end of this year. It's already in the calendar for a specific date. I don't want to say it in case I, don't follow through properly, but I do have plans to get it up pretty quickly after the book comes out. So we'll see how that goes. But today we get to talk about everything that happened in Skyshade from a fan of the Lightlark series. This one, ooh, this was tricky. Quick little review for you before we jump into the full plot. I did like this, as all of the books. I've enjoyed them. I think that they're fun. I like these characters so much. Yeah, there's some issues. It's not a perfect book, but I do really enjoy what it's offering, and I have a lot of fun, and that's why I'm reading these, for the fun. But in this, I definitely felt myself having a harder time getting into the first 50-ish pages maybe, where I was really struggling with not critiquing things, where I was like, why this, why that? Because it took me a moment to remember what happened at the end of the previous book, Nightbane. Oh boy. But once I got into this book, I was in the book. I finished this in a very short period of time, 2 sittings to be exact. And so I'm happy to have finally read it. Is it a full perfect 5-star? I don't know compared to the other two. In so many ways, I want to say it is still a 5-star, but maybe it's a little bit closer to a 4.5, 4.75 if we're being super picky on it. But yeah, no, it's 5 stars. We're going to talk about it, but you're going to know exactly why Skyshade was the book for me in no time at all. So with that said, let's jump right in to Skyshade. It picks up exactly where we left off with Nightbane, with Isla agreeing with Grimm that she will leave with him and flee the battlefield to end this ongoing kind of not really a war, but the startings of what could probably become, but this big battle. She agrees to leave with Grimm, leaving Oro behind. Isla now has all of her past memories back. She remembers marrying Grimm. She remembers the love that she has for him, and she obviously still loves Oro. We're going to hear that a bajillion times, but we also remember that Isla has been life-linked to Grimm in order to save her. Picking up from there, we have one of my favorite quotes from Grimm. That's exactly where we're going to be starting off. It says, "If raging a war for one woman is a crime, then please do consider me a criminal. If killing thousands to keep you alive is wrong, then consider me a villain." She tilts her head, trying to see him clearly. He leans in. His breath was hot against her lips. "If loving you this much is my downfall, then consider me already on my knees." You're kidding me. I'm sorry to the Oro girlies. I know you're out there. I know you're watching. I love and appreciate you. I'm trying to understand where you're coming from, but this is Grimm's book. I'm sorry. You can't persuade me any other way. So our grief-stricken Isla is really struggling with what to do next. She's in Nightshade. Grimm is talking to his council, and while Grimm is demanding respect from the Nightshades for his wife, while not trusting her, thinking she's going to obviously be a traitor, clearly she was on Oro's side for the war, she's really struggling with wanting to help and save everybody, big picture. If you need a refresher, there was a portal that the Nightshades were going to go through to save Isla, but that would kill a bunch of people, so she's like, don't do that. The whole time, Isla is like, I'm with this monster, he's such a villain, I can't trust him, he clearly wants to go back and destroy Lightlark like the rest of the Nightshades, what on earth is she gonna do? She has to find a way to help everybody by making bad decisions, as she must do. But when we have another one-on-one moment with Grimm, we learn that he's not actually planning to invade Lightlark, he's trying to give Isla choices and not take from her so much. He's putting in the work, man. But basically he's like, no, I don't plan to go back to Lightlark and destroy and kill everybody. Like, that's just what I have to tell my people because I don't know what else to do right now. I need time to figure things out. The storm season is coming. Like, we've got bigger fish to fry. And Isla agrees that she's going to help figure out whatever the storm thing is. Because she's feeling so much guilt over how many people she's been killing, she goes to the blacksmith who was in the previous book, Nightbane. He is like an immortal, really old being of a different time, and basically he makes these like really unique and special blacksmith crafts things, okay? But basically she's like, I need to control my powers. There's too much. I'm buzzing. I have too much access to everything with the heart of Lightlark being in her and having two different men that she loves and that love her. Sharing all of this magic is just like a little much. So she asks for these cuff bracelets that'll basically push down her magic and she can kind of have control. And the only people who can take these cuffs it's whoever puts the cuffs on. In this current moment, she puts them on herself. But the only other person safeguarded, take them off, would be the blacksmith. During these more beginning pages, we see Grimm just being an absolute frickin' simp. And I wasn't loving the direction that he was like headed in. He didn't feel authentic to his character at times. But Isla the whole time is just like pining over and thinking and missing Oro. And I'm not an Oreo girly, so I was like, get over it, move on. So I think that's part of the reason why I was struggling with like getting into this book at first, because I was just like, I don't care about this. This isn't what I want. This isn't working for me. Again, we're having that setup moment. So Isla is just like a lot of hot and cold back and forth being like, I love Oro, I love Grimm, I love them both. My heart is in two halves of me love two different men. Oh, the struggles. But she's also like, I need my power. I should really like go back to the blacksmith and undo this and like have them put back on later. Like, she's just like really all over the place trying to figure out what her next steps are going to be and like how she's going to figure all of this out. But we get a nice little reprieve from her mind and we get to see Wraith, the little baby dragon that they found and she gave to Grimm. Finally, she asks what happened to Wraith, and Wraith is a big grown still a child, but basically a big grown dragon. He bonded with Grimm. You cannot tell me Grimm is not the ultimate choice. He's got a bonded, come on, he's got a familiar. Oreo don't got that. And just as Isla is getting ready to go on this quest to learn about these storms, basically Nightshade has been impacted by terrible, terrible storms where creatures come and lightning and it just destroys and it just destroys all of the towns and villages. So they're trying to find a way to stop it. They don't know what's causing it or where it's coming from, but it's just really bad storm season. And the moment Isla's like, all right, time to figure this shit out, what happens? The storms come. The storms begin. And so our genius girl is kind of double agent the whole time. She's working with Grimm, trying to figure out the storm situation, while at the same time is trying to figure out how she can help her own agenda, how she can end basically the prophecy. The prophecy is really what's on this girl's brain, like the whole time. Basically, if you don't remember, there was this prophecy told to her by the Oracle right before the battle was beginning in Nightbane, and that Isla is basically fated and destined to, she's either going to be the savior or she's going to be the destroyer. And a part of that, although her clock is ticking and she's also kind of dying, one of the things before she can pass is that she will be stabbing either Oro or Grimm in the heart. And she doesn't know which one. She's obviously in love with them both. It's very difficult. And so to try and like get ahead of the prophecy, she's on the hunt for the other oracles. The oracle died in the last book, but she has sisters, so she's like, fine, I will go find Cleo. Cleo is the leader of the Moonlings, and another issue that I have with this book, Cleo was such a secondary thought for most of this book, which I thought was kind of funny. Isla was like, obviously Cleo is going to be heading to Nightshade because the plan fizzled out. She wants to get back to her son, who is through the portal, and since they're unable to get through, Cleo's like, I guess we'll head back to the Nightshades, and she's just like on this giant fleet of boats during these really bad storms, and Isla flies over with Wraith. It's incredibly dangerous. Couldn't have it any other way, and is trying to find the oracles, but instead stumbles across Cleo, who announces, yeah, I actually killed all the oracles after they told me their prophecies, and I am now the holder of all these truths, and I'm not going to share it with you. And so Cleo is now the oracle, and that ends our little dragon excursion. And it was a terrible idea. I'm glad that they're okay. My entire concern throughout this whole book was, is Wraith going to be okay? Is he going to make it through? This dragon really goes through it, and I love and appreciate his character so very much. But then after that, we get back to the castle, and Grimm tells Isla that the Nightbane fields in Nightshade that the wildlings were living around and taking care of, and like that was like basically their healing. That's how they made healing potions and whatnot. Those fields completely destroyed by the storm, and now they have like no other means to heal anybody. There's one vial left because Isla thought it would be a fantastic, great idea if she portaled all of their healing vials right back to Lightlark and all the people that were hurt and injured during the battle, which is like, you know, sweet in concept. When you think that you have like this infinite source of flowers, you think it's going to be fine. But of course, all decisions come with major consequences in this book. And having the conversation about like the Oracle being dead and being concerned about stuff, we move on swiftly to the fact that although the Moonlings had the Oracles, the Nightshades have the Prophet. The Prophet is dead after Grimm's dad killed the Prophet for not sharing his prophecies. Basically, they won't allow like the rulers, but Isla's like, oh, the Prophet is clearly going to be like the way to get answers. So they go on a journey. They're going to climb together, and basically it's like this big mountain, but there's caves inside, and you kind of have to go like these windy magical paths where different things could happen. It's incredibly deadly, to no surprise. She's constantly in these near-death experience situations, but it's very hot and cold between the two, where she's like, I love him, I hate him, I want him to sleep with me, but also like, don't you dare touch me. Like, she's all over the place, hot and cold. But we get to the Prophet. There are Prophet followers, and the main one is, I believe, Etta, and they have all of the Prophet's like teachings and prophecies in this book made out of his skin and his literal blood, which is so metal. But basically we learned that there's a wildling traitor amongst them, and that the clue is to like follow the snakes. And another thing that I'm pointing out, I'm saying, because the wording caught my eye, but the wording from like the Prophet follower about her prophecy is, you will plunge a blade into another powerful heart, and it will mark the start of a new age. Powerful heart? That, I feel like that she could kill Cleo and that would count. Like, I don't know. I'm assuming it has to go back with like the founders, but like I have some theories about this. And the other thing that we learn before leaving this deadly Prophet Mountain is that these storms are happening because there is a tear in the universe, kind of. There's a portal to the other worlds, which you're gonna hear a lot, but there's a portal that's kind of messing up the feng shui, and a bunch of storms and creatures are kind of flowing in through that, and they need to close the portal, and that's going to stop the storms. And that portal isn't like safe to travel through. It's kind of just like a blip, a one-time passage, but like if you tried to go through it, you would die. Different from the like mirror portal that is on the wildling lands on Lightlark Island, because that's more of a bridge, but it still would only save like the strongest of people. Like the weak would still die. A lot of people would still die if they like try to do safe passage through this like bridge portal. And then for some reason, Isla, who loves her secrets and will fucking hold them tight to her chest until it's convenient for her to share with somebody, but she tells Azul of the prophecies and like her dilemma. Azul is the leader of the Skylings by democratic vote, and they've also agreed and voted that they like don't really have an interest in participating too much in this whole like war situation going on. So they kind of take a pretty big backseat for this story. Like Azul kind of just pops in when it's convenient for them to get help from the Skylings. But basically, Azul knows now what the prophecies are and is trying to convince Isla that she's not actually a monster and that she can be redeemed and change, but also gives her a feather. And this white feather seems to be pretty important later on, but yeah, he's the one who gives her this feather. So we go on, you know, some more questing journeys. This book is so fast-paced and so much happens so quickly that it's really just like a blip into be like, this quest, and then this quest, and then this quest, and then this quest, and you're just kind of jumping along. But basically, after a conversation with the prophets, she's like, how long do I have to live? And they're like, we're done talking to you, you must leave, like, we're not into this anymore. But she learns of this thing called the Ogre, and it's not ogre like Shrek, it's like A-U-G-U-R. I don't question fantasy logic, but basically this ogre is a blood tester, and is also like a very ancient being, who I believed also followed the prophet, but to talk with him and get her blood tested to find out how long she'll have to live, she has to feed him a bunch of hearts. So this kind of kickstarts our vigilante Isla, where she starts stalking men in the villages, and when they start doing like wrong, harmful things to like say other women or just like a nuisance on society and bad, Then she makes them target number 1 and she kills them and takes their heart. And she does this a few times to feed the ogre, and then eventually like she kind of just does it. But we'll get there. During this time that she's like figuring out this like ogre thing, Grimm is flying on Wraith trying to figure out where this portal is. He's trying to like use his portal sensing magic to figure out what's going on. And Isla knows of a traitor among the wildlings, but like is not sharing that information right now. She's just trying to keep it close to her chest, and she's trying to figure out what it means to follow the snakes. And when she talks to the ogre's like, he's got like this blood pool and he's got the skeleton of the prophet. Like he's kind of a nasty man, but he basically takes some of her blood, and in this world blood is magic, so it's like very like he can tell a lot. But he takes some of her blood. It tells her that if she finds the portal, she'll find her fate, but she's not going to live past the storm season. So, you know, clock is ticking, the time is now, we must figure things out. Oh, and another thing that I forgot to mention about the Prophet's book is that like some of the first pages have been torn out and are missing and have been for like ever. And the beginning pages are how the Prophet described how he got from the other world to Lightlark and how he like opened and closed portals. So that's another like side quest that we need to figure out, like find the pages so we can learn about portals. And then one night while Isla is calmly sleeping in her chambers, which is technically Oro's chambers, but they're not sharing a room right now, Tynan, one of Grimm's guards, like close advisor on the council, comes into Isla's room and uses his like little magic to try and kill her. And she's unable to do anything. She has the black necklace from their wedding, which basically if she pulls on it, it summons Grimm to her. But Tynan attempts to assassinate our dear Isla because she must be in peril at all times. But what he doesn't know is that the good boy Lynx is in the room. Lynx is Isla's familiar. Lynx is a leopard. It's very confusing. She does address the name thing, and I thought it was very funny, where Grimm, I believe, is like, me and this leopard don't get along. Like, why am I going to call him Lynx? And he's like, that's the name he likes. But he's not even a lynx. I thought that was funny. I like when authors are like, yeah, I understand that I've made a silly decision, but like, I'm standing behind it. But basically, Grimm shows up when Tynan's doing the assassination after being attacked by the leopard, and Isla's like, actually, can I kill him? Can I be the one to like stab his heart? That'd be cool, thanks. So she kills him, and then the next day the council has like their little meeting. Grimm's on his little throne, they're sitting, it's cool, and she throws Tynan's head onto the floor in front of everybody and tells these snakes that are crawling all over her to go eat it. They eat everything off of his till just like a skull is left, and then she's like, have a problem with me? Try to assassinate me. Good luck. And then like leaves with her snakes following in tow. I missed when Isla became like kind of a badass. Like that was such a crazy scene. Like that might have been one of the most powerful scenes and probably one of my favorites from this book. Crazy. But yeah, basically Wren of the Wildlings, a friend, I suppose. She like has brought a bunch of snakes from the Wildling and she's like trained them and stuff. So obviously like Wren was like lightly suspicious of being the follow the snakes lady, but also just like gave Isla this power to like just have all of these snakes all over her, similar to a depiction in the cave walls of a woman who looks like Isla covered in snakes because it was seen in the prophecy. And that's in like the ogre. I feel like it should be ogre, but the narrator said ogre, so we're just going with it. The ogre caves, that was the depiction of like Isla like covered in all of these snakes and just like looking godly and powerful. And during this time, my dear sweet Grimm has laid out so many beautiful, nice weapons all over the chamber for her to have, but Isla doesn't feel like it's enough, and she kind of wants her like familiar knives and weapons and swords instead. So she goes back to the wildling realm where she was raised and goes into her, I guess, like dresser, where she like opens a drawer, like all of her knives are there. But more importantly, she sees a parchment, and on the parchment, and it says, "Hello, Isla," and guess whose handwriting it's in? Aurora's. Aurora, aka Celeste, the ruler of the Starlings, was Isla's really close friend prior to the Centennial. And obviously Aurora ended up being our big bad. Obviously, it's a little bit concerning that after Isla tried using the feather to write on parchment, she later comes across a parchment that says, "Hello, Isla," in Aurora's handwriting. The way my jaw was on the floor. I thought that scene was crazy. I was like, that was so Cool. So during all this time, we're gathering all these quest materials, we're learning so much. It's like, oh, I have this feather, but I don't really want to talk to Aurora because I don't think I can trust her, so like, I'm gonna leave that as a loose end for now. And oh, I have this portal that I need to find, and I need to chase that down, and then I also have to figure out this prophecy thing. Like, there's so many loose ends going on at this point, and every single time she sees Grim doing something or she talks to somebody new, she learns that Grim can cook because she was trying to find the kitchens and she needed, like, food because she was a little, like, woozy. He cooks for her, and she's like, I shouldn't be shocked, but I am. Or she's talking to this young lady in a village, and she's like, what do you think of the ruler? And she's like, well, he's very fair and just, and he takes very good care of us, and if there's a problem, he's the first to address it, unlike the other previous rulers. And she's like, I shouldn't be shocked, but I am. It's like she just has such, like, a bad view of Grim at all times that she's like, every single good thing that he has done, which is vast. Like, he's constantly just doing decent things. She's constantly like, I'm just so shocked that he's, like, a decent guy. It's like, yeah, he likes to maybe kill sometimes, and he can be strict, but I don't know, man. I'm shocked he knows how to cook. It's just the whole time. But one evening, when Isla is chilling in her chamber, trying to sleep, Lynx notifies that something's at the window. And what could it possibly be other than Oro? Yeah, he's back in the scenes. He's back, everybody. But he flew all the way from Lightlark Island to the Nightshade realm, which is pretty far. Like, if I show you the map, which I feel like it would just be easier to put it on the screen, but this is the map. Way over here, somewhere, is the Nightshade. It's not specified. It's not even on the map. So that's a long flight, like days flight. But Oro just had to see Isla to see how she's doing, to try and convince her to come back. But at the same time this is happening, the storm bird starts to sing, which is signaling that another storm is coming, so they have to go. And she has to go quick, because obviously they need to chase down the storm to figure out where this portal is, but at the same time, Grim usually shows up to her room, and if that's the case, then Grim would see Oro, and Grim sees Oro might die. And so she portals to Grim's room, is like, I can't get the buttons on my nightgown. Can you help me take it off? And she changes in his room, and he doesn't really question much. He's pretty down bad. He's pretty big simp. So he's like, absolutely. And so they get on Wraith the dragon and they fly off to the storm, which, as you could assume, goes horribly wrong. They are inside a very gigantic storm. Lightning is happening. They are flying on this child dragon, few months old large dragon. And in this storm, there's like these metal shards that are flying around, and they lose access to their power. So both Grim and Isla both can't do any magic. And our poor sweet baby Wraith gets injured. Once they're like plummeting down to the ground, Wraith wraps them in his wings. Grim is able to like get some magic access, and they like teleport to the cliffs. But Wraith's wings are really bad and he can't fly anymore, and it's so freaking sad. And there's only one health vial left. So obviously it has to go to the dragon, but I'm getting ahead of myself. Basically, Grim is like, no, let me address like your bandages, like you're clearly hurt, like her leg is bleeding. And she's like, no, you portal me to your room. I'll grab my star stick. I'll go to my room, clean up, and I'll meet you so we can take care of Wraith. Anything to keep Oro and Grim far from one another. And obviously Oro sees her all bloody and is like, what's wrong? Who did this to you? Like, are you okay? Like, can I help? And he heals her. And then full 180, Isla's like, yeah, so I kill people for fun. I actually really like the feeling of killing people. I've been killing people in the streets, in the villages, and I like it. And you know what? I've chosen Grim, and I love him, and it's not you. And is doing everything in her power to make Oro believe that Isla is this monster and is as bad as she thinks. And she knows that, like, Oro is being a worse ruler because of his feelings for Isla, so she's like, this is just the better choice. Like, Grim gets me because he's also kind of a monster. Like, we're kind of villains together. We're in our villain era. It's really cute and hot. But she teleports Oro back to the main island. And again, like, hey, I'm not good. This isn't gonna work out. Like, I'm not choosing you. Stay here. Forget about me. And that's when Zed, one of Oro's friends, walks in, knocks 3 arrows towards Isla. 2 of them don't hit. 1 right into the stomach, and Isla allows Oro to heal her just enough so that she can portal away, and she teleports right to Grim, who immediately runs into action. He's like, who did this to you? Are you okay? He gets her help, and he's like, if it's somebody you care about, do not tell me who did this. And she's like, I ain't saying nothing. I'm not telling you that Oro visited. I'm sure, like, Grimm clearly can figure out, like, something happened, but refuses to be like, yeah, it was Zed, because, like, that's one of Oro's close friends. But wow, what a time. Yeah, so basically Zed gets imprisoned, and that's, you know, Oro's deal. And so basically that is where, like, the very quick blimp of Oro that we get is basically their kind of breakup. She's concerned about the prophecy. She's thought about killing Grimm a few times, but like that would kill all the nightshades, and she cares deeply for, you know, just innocent survival. She also doesn't want to kill Oro. Clearly she loves them both. I've said that a bajillion times. So does the book. But because she loves him, she's like, I'll just distance us, and once I have to figure out this prophecy thing, I'll figure it out. But for now, like, he's not the choice. So you might recall I mentioned that Isla's kind of become a little bit of a vigilante. She's been going to one specific village a lot and has earned the reputation of heart ripper, heart stealer, heart something, heart ripper. I don't remember. Oh no. It happens early on. Beautiful women wearing snakes, killing wretched men with blades through their hearts. The heart ripper. That could only be my wife. I'm obsessed. Anyway, she's a vigilante, and she's kind of got this camaraderie with this village girl, Saoirse, who recognized that Isla saved her, but doesn't know who she is because she, like, wears a mask to, like, hide her identity a little bit, but basically, like, kept leaving out pastries and drinks and stuff, being like, I just want to thank you for, like, the work that you've done, like, what you've done for me and my friends. And Isla's constantly like, I don't want to be your friend. I don't want any of this. Like, if I train you to defend yourself, will you leave me alone? She doesn't. Saoirse is very adamant. And often we'll find her on the roof, just snacking on pastries, inviting her to the bar. She gets to know, like, this village a little bit more, and kind of gets us a camaraderie, comfort of, like, having her own sort of friends. And as you heard from that direct quote, Oro one night sees her as she's, like, trying to kill somebody. She's like, I'll do it a different way. I'm not going to rip out his heart. I don't want a reputation. But he's, like, much stronger than her normal victims. So he was, like, fighting back, and Grimm shows up and just, like, helps a little bit. And just accepts Isla for all of who she is, the good, the bad, the murderer. And I adore him. What can I say? And oh my god, the sexual tension between these two when he, like, has her up against the wall. He's, like, whispering sweet nothings. I love it. Love when he teases. Love when he just, like, leaves her alone in an alley. During these times, like, a lot of the nightshades, especially those a part of the court, are still unsure about Isla. They still see her as, like, a traitor, somebody can't be trusted. So Grimm's like, marry me again, please. I think that this will show good faith of, like, our alliance and everything if, like, we have a big wedding and, like, people can celebrate. Like, storms are coming, it's ravaging a bunch of villages and towns, like, people aren't in a good place, and this can be, like, something to look forward to and a nice little celebration. So we're gonna get a little wedding, and it was sweet. It was very, like, you know, quick. Everything in this book is pretty fast-paced, so we don't get a whole lot of it, but there's a bit of a steamy-ish scene. Again, this is young adult, so everything's, like, a half-pepper type of scenes. Like, they're very quick, they're not very detailed, it happens within a couple paragraphs, but there's a moment between the two, which I adored. After a nice little hardcore make-out to prove people that, like, they are actually in love, Grimm pulls her away onto the cliffs and learns that somebody has, like, destroyed graves from, not militaries, the guards, like, the guards' graves, basically. And that's, like, you know, not cool. Disturbing a bunch of graves. They've been, like, completely destroyed to ash, like, bones are missing, like, it's not good. And the only people who were not at the wedding were Poppy and Tara. And those were Isla's guardians, who kind of kept a lot of secrets, and who she thought had killed her parents, but they, like, adamantly say, like, they didn't kill her parents, but they weren't at the wedding. And now all these graves are destroyed, so Isla assumes that they were the ones that did it and gets them basically thrown into jail. But obviously it's a little bit too obvious that they would be the ones to do it. Like, what's their motive? Her guardians are now in jail, and she's had a bad wedding night. Now, I didn't really mention it prior because I didn't really care, and I didn't think it was very, like, relevant to everything, but basically when they went into the storm on Wraith and they were, like, trying to sort the storm stuff out, Azul had given these, like, rings that they could, I think, capture storms or something. I don't really understand the purpose or magic of them, but basically she lost the ring when they were falling to their almost deaths. So she's, like, trying to talk to the blacksmith to be like, is there a way that we can, like, locate it? Like, it could be anywhere, like, where is there a way to do that? And blacksmith's like, no, that's a type of magic I can't do. They're at a standstill. He's not gonna create something to find it because there's like this stuff that's been lost to time and he doesn't know how to do it, but like it's a... My brain is still trying to wrap around the concept, but they're skyers, and it's basically like, I think runes or sigils that give different magical abilities, but also like corrupts from the inside and like you die faster. But I also thought that she was like trying to prolong her life with them. So I'm not fully sure what a skyer is. If you fully get it, like sound off down below. Thank you. She's like learning how to maybe use the skyers and create something from it. But it takes like a piece of your soul, similar to the feather that she has from Aurora. And she knows that if she talks to Aurora through the feather, she could probably get a lot of answers about the skyers, but she still doesn't trust her. So she's like, no, not yet. Back on another night of vengeance though, we are sitting on the roof with Saoirse, who is passing around a nice bottle of wine while they're talking about like grief and redemption and like being bad people and doing good to like try and make up for their past. And out of all the moments that her and Saoirse have had together, this bottle of wine happened to be poisoned. And these villagers are surrounding Isla when she comes to on this island in the middle of like a flowing river. Saoirse's like, hey girl, hey, welcome to the cult. We are prophet followers and you're gonna kill us. And Isla like had all of her weapons but didn't have the star stick and was like, I just need to leave. Like, I don't want to kill anybody. Like, I don't want to kill any of you. I thought we were like, you know, friendly. And they basically like violently provoke Isla the entire time until she like low-key accidentally kills all of them, or also self-defense kills them. All of her new friends are dead. And they believe that Isla is the one the prophet spoke about and is the chosen one and is going to... Wow, I just unlocked a meaning in my brain. But they believe that Isla is going to bring them to a new world. So finally, Isla takes it into her own hands and she carves a skyer into her arm with the feather after talking to Aurora. The feather has a little piece of metal, and this metal is like shade something. Shade metal? Doesn't matter too much. But it's like from the other world. It's the same thing that's in the storms that kind of like stop magic from happening, but also she uses it to carve the skyer into her arm, which is like low-key invisible to other nightshades, so she's not going to get caught for a little bit, but blood on the feather. Very important note. After that, we get, I kid you not, 32 pages of like bonding, bliss, peace, everything you've ever wanted, the most fanfare you could get for the Grimm girlies. I love this little like winter vacay. Basically, they go off to the castle that Grimm was raised in before like his dad was like a tyrant and he like became a ruler. Basically, we learn that Grimm had a bunch of siblings, but they all die when one of the rulers is chosen. They usually have to fight to the death, but because of his portal abilities, he kind of just got chosen. But we learn, you know, Grimm's tragic past, and we have a lot of snuggles by the fire, and we get to go into the maze and the ancient library, and it's just so cozy. I truly was like, I see what we're doing here. This is for me. This was written directly for me and all the other Grimm girls. It was, yeah, it's just 32 pages of like mostly bonding and having, you know, sex and having a nice little vacation before storm chasing again, before the storm season like really happens. Obviously there's always some ulterior motives when it comes to Isla, so she really wanted access to this library because there's a bunch of ancient texts there. After banging one out in the library, a bunch of books fall off a shelf and there's one book that stays, and she goes, a cursed book that can't be opened, Aurora says? That must be the one. And so now she has this cursed book, but she, having her father's ability, cannot be cursed, so she can open it and read it just fine, and it's a whole bunch of information on skyers. And so, taking this new book and the maze that Oro showed her directions to, she goes into the maze all by herself while Oro is flying the dragon. It's similar to walking your dogs, yes. And she goes in. Inside the center of the maze is Cronin's coffin, made out of the same metal from the feather, from the storms, from the cuffs. All of it is the same. In the center of the maze, Cronin is the original like nightshade guy, the original like big bad, if you will, one of the founders of Lightlark. And using the magic book, as well as like learning the location of this coffin and like trying to get magical bones, because the book says like if you use old bones, the power is better for like carving the skyers. So that's her plan, is to like steal Cronin's bones. But whilst that's happening, she sees that the bones are not there. There's no body whatsoever in this casket, and she comes to the conclusion that his bones must have been turned into the portal because his flare was portal magic. So she's like, his bones must have turned into the portal. Has to be it. There's no other answer. At the same time, she's being attacked by creatures that came through a storm, and then she unleashes the book, which like out comes like basically a demon, a little imp but bigger, kind of like a gargoyle. Anyways, comes out, fights those things. She's like, I'm gonna die. The thing starts chasing her. She's getting injured. She's trying to find her way out. She's running. She's booking it to the entrance of the maze. She falls into Grimm's arms. So romantic. Kills the thing. She comes to in bed, healed, and he's like, what the fuck is on your arm? She's been caught. The Skyer is known. And thus concludes our bonding moments between Isla and Grimm. I love this little vacation. It just felt almost fan servicey, where it's like, this is for me. This is just like a nice calm time of like eating chocolates and going to the village and like dressing up in warm winter clothes. Like, this is such a good winter book. But now that they know more about the portal, Isla's like, all right, time for me to keep doing my Skyer thing. Grimm, although he's not really like for the Skyers, he doesn't like it. He's not controlling her. He's not telling her no. He's being a good partner and letting her do bad decisions all on her own, like the adult she is. And she's like, as much as I am appreciative that he's letting me do these things, I kind of don't want to like force him to be around for it too much. So what happens is she has met a cousin. The only living family that she knows is Grimm's like first hand guard lady. Astria's her cousin. Astria tells Isla about her father and how he loved maps and like travel and stuff. And so she's like, oh, that's really cool. Like, where could I find that info? Obviously, it's back at his original castle. So she goes through his stuff. She finds all these maps. She's like, this is really cool. Of course, one of the maps just has a little island. And guess what its name is? Isla. I know. Here's where we're going to have the conversation. So long into the video. Yeah, I keep saying Isla. We fight about it every time I do these deep dives. I have a recording of the audiobook saying Isla because I feel like I'm going crazy every time I have to explain it. Yes, I know that it should be pronounced Isla, especially because Alex Astor is Colombian American, so like she also should know that it's Isla because island, silent, whatever. It's Isla though. So I did record that for you.
Was Isla.
But she got named after an island because Isla means island in this world, and that's the lore. That's what you get. And so basically her father named her after this island. She'd been visiting it and like seeing it. There's like a lot of fruit that she delivered to the people of Nightshade because they don't really have fruit. Yeah, nice little cozy island beach for her to live her little survivor life. But she goes back to the island this evening to perform another Skyer. Now, the thing is, if you do a Skyer incorrectly, if you carve the lines wrong, it's insanely dangerous. Like, not good. But she's on this island all by herself and carves a Skyer incorrectly. She like convulses and like passes out from pain, and it's just like excruciating for her. And when she comes to and gets back to Grimm's room, she's covered in dirt, and he explains that a village was attacked and that it's basically been completely destroyed. And he says, actually, how about you stay, rest, you didn't get any sleep, clean up, I'll take care of this myself. And that's not normally how they work. Like, they're a pretty good partnership. Like, any meeting Grimm has with any of the councils, like, she is always invited. She's always there. But this is the one where he was like, maybe not this time. Maybe you stay back. So she, of course, follows him, listens, and eavesdrops on the conversation with the council, where they're, like, eyewitnesses, like, key witnesses that were there from the village saw Isla do this attack. Like, they know it was her. They, like, she destroyed the ground and just, like, absolutely ruined everything. And Isla's like, oh my god, I had a dream when I was on the island of like destroying a village. I have to see if this is the right village. She portals to the village that was destroyed, and she's like, oh my god, this was from my vision. Like, I did it. It must have been me. And she's just like crying, and Grimm's comforting her. And she's like thinking about it. She's like, oh my god, follow the snakes. I've been the snake queen. I've been like embodying that depiction on the cave walls. Like, I am the traitor. Obviously. And after coming to this realization and talking to Grimm, being like, I think I'm the traitor, I think I'm the bad guy, Astria comes into the room and is like, so a lot of our guards are at the gates. And they're like, oh my god, is it a coup? Like, there's no way that they would turn against Grimm. Obviously, like, if they kill Grimm, they all die. So, like, that doesn't make any sense. And now, just a little bit over halfway through this book, like, not even, like, just a bit over halfway through this book, we get one of the biggest plot twists I never saw coming. It, yeah, crazy. Huh? We learn that one of the 3 founders, Lark Crown, Isla's ancestor, is alive. She looks just like Isla. She loves the snakes. The snakes love her. All the snakes on Isla immediately go and flee after Lark. And Lark is the one who's been depicted in the prophecies. Lark is the one who is creating the new world like she did Lightlark. She's tearing it all down and just planning to try again. So she's like, I'm gonna kill all of the Skyshades. Every last one of them, including Grimm. Now, she like kind of stole Isla to have this like private little rendezvous. And so we learn that Lark is kind of like coming for vengeance because Cronin had been stealing all of her power or magic so that he could actually portal back to the other realm and leave her. And she was kind of like trapped underground under a nightshade for ever, many hundreds of years, just unable to do anything and had no magic or powers and was just like chilling. Kind of like the Vampire Diaries when like they're stabbed, like one of the originals is stabbed with like the white oak or whatever, and like they're not dead, but they're not alive. It's kind of like that. But they kind of take care of it. Basically, the nightshades at the gate were all undead. So we are learning that the reason that the graves were destroyed and bones were missing was because they're being like resurrected into a zombie-like state. And Lark is using them as like an army, which isn't great. And so they get back to the castle. They're like, we need to just worry about saving people and helping the villages and like not trying to kill anybody else, like just destroy the non-undead and keep people alive so that she can't get more army or whatever. And she grabs her portal stick and she ends up not sure where she needs to go, but she ends up at the blacksmith because the blacksmith of course made the stick and was like, you need to come now ASAP. And he's like, so I'm sure you've heard. She's like, yeah, Lark is alive. And he's like, yeah, so I need you to kill me. Basically they had made this bargain earlier on being like, I'll make these cuffs for you if you promise to kill me, because she's not bound by curses, so he's cursed to be immortal and not die, but she's able to kill him. They made a deal that like at the end of the winter she would check with him and be like, if you still want me to kill you, like I will. But because Lark is back, the blacksmith is like, hey, I can be compelled and I can make whatever she tells me to that will destroy the world, so like you have to kill me now. I've made you this nice armor. Please wear the armor. She doesn't. For the entire rest of the book, she goes, it's a shame that I missed out on the armor. I'm sure it'll make a nice little comeback in the 4th book, but like does not wear the armor the entire time. But basically he's like, I've made you this armor. It's gonna help you. Please kill me right now before Lark gets here. And that's what she does. And goodbye, blacksmith. After having a quick little chat with Grimm on like what to do, like she's like, you focus on the nightshades. You keep everybody safe. You do what you need to do. Like fight these armies. It's not gonna stop. I need you to take care of this while that's happening. I know that the pages from the book have to be on Lightlark. Why she knows that the prophet's journal pages would be there, I don't know. But she's like, they have to be on Lightlark, and I know exactly where they're going to be. So she teleports to Lightlark. Now that she knows that Cronin is also alive, she's like, oh god, if I kill Grimm, like all of the nightshades won't actually die. And so that's kind of like playing with her mind. She's like, do I kill him and then I die myself? And it's like this Romeo and Juliet situation. But she's still really focusing on like how she can be a savior of the world rather than the destroyer. And once she gets to Lightlark, she goes to these gates of the Sun People and she's like trying to get into these gates but like can't figure it out. And Oro just like shows up and is like, should I kill you? And she's like, no. Let me tell you all about this Lark stuff. And they go into the gates together. And I'm sorry to the Oro girls, I'm gonna sound like about this, but basically everything that happened in the mountain when they were climbing together, now we get that, but it's Oro. And so it's incredibly hot, like the deeper they go in. I'm kind of picturing 64 Paper Mario where it's like they're in the desert. I'm picturing that, okay? Anyhow, they're traversing through like these desert sands, super hot, it's incredibly dangerous. They're like getting naked and walking through the things, and he's like, oh, you kind of just want to fuck me right now because like you're breathing in the sand and the sand enhances your emotions. But then they like sleep and she has a little sex dream that I think is a full retcon for the last book, because like why would you not just tell us that they banged before the battle? I don't know. Why in this book? Why? I don't know if like Alex Astor's like, we're 3 books in, we can be more adult with the intimate scenes. I'm not sure. But I thought that was interesting that we're retconning a little bit to make me want her to be with Oro more. I don't know. But yes, we get a little wet dream and she's like moaning Oro's name all night and he's like, yeah, sure, you hate me. Seems like it. But then they continue on their journey. They need to find the oasis. They find the room in which the papers are. She's like very quickly like on a time crunch reading the pages. She's like, I have to do it fast because like the light's gonna go away. They have a very short period of time. Anyways, she reads the page. She commits all of that information to memory somehow and then uses her blood to open an unopenable door because blood is magic. And inside is Horus, the original founder for the Sunlings, basically. And he's like a corpse, kind of. Like, he's not fully dead, but he's not, like, alive either. Kind of like Vampire Diaries, yeah. But when she takes the magical finger bone that he's, like, holding on to, he just, like, turns into ash and dies. So, one of the 3 founders is confirmed dead. But now she's got the magical bone that she needs for all of this magical prophecy stuff that she's working on. And then they're like, all right, we gotta go. And another sandstorm comes. She's like, I don't got time for this. They go to sleep. She, like, nuzzles into Oro, steals the finger bone, walks back, uses the second ring that she had from Azul, traps the storm, and fucking books it out of there as fast as she can to get away from Oro. They kind of have like a moment of being like, oh, we have to kill each other, we're enemies, you married him, we're enemies, but also like you're moaning my name at night, so clearly you still like me. And so he doesn't do anything about it, but like not going well. And they get to the gates. There's a bunch of undead from the lightlark people. Lark has made her way to the island and has raised her undead army, and they're just like waiting. And so she summons Grim. Grim's fucking pissed. Grim kills all of these people, tries to attack Oro, is unable. They step out. Everybody has like a weird little truce of like, all right, the 3 of us have to work together or Lark is gonna destroy us all. So like, I guess we're besties. And at this point, I'm thinking this has to end in a white shoes. One of them has to die for her to be able to pick someone, or we're going to just end a nice white shoes and eventually, hopefully, they'll fall in love too. Like, Oro and Grim will also fall in love and it can be a nice little poly situation, but at least white shoes. But for the rest of, like, the few scenes, it's a lot of, like, strategy talk and, like, what they're going to do about Lark and how they're going to work together and get the gangs friendly. After multiple people are trying to kill everybody, basically. Grim was tasked to go with Zed to find the thief who had the sword from the previous book that was Cronin's that, like, brings all the Drex. So he's on a hunt for that sword, which had gone missing. And Isla and Oro go back to the portal room, the mirror place. She's really snippy about it. He's like, what are we doing here? Like, what do you need? And she's like, it's none of your business. It's like, okay, Isla, we get it. But then they see Ren, like, running away in the forest, and they're like, what the hell? They chase after her, and then Ren starts fighting, and she goes, oh my god, Ren's not alive. I can't kill her, though, because this is sad. And she's, like, crying, and Oro, like, disintegrates her. And then the serpent lady from the previous book, she's dead and trying to kill him. Yeah, so they have, like, a little fight with some army people. It's not good. But it's clear that Lark has the star stick, and that's how she teleported to the island. And Isla's, like, going full panic mode because she does not feel her connection and tie to Grim anymore. She's like, I can't feel him. Is he dead? Like, what's going on? She's, like, full panicking, not doing well. This army's in front of her. She, just in a complete rage, just disintegrates all of them. But then she looks back, and what happened to Orr? Hand removed from his chest, blood. So, she inadvertently basically kind of killed Oro. But not in the way that the prophecy would deem true. So she's, like, trying her best to heal him, but she doesn't have the same kind of healing magic and abilities that he has. Grim and Zed show up, and they're trying to heal, and she's like, I swear to God, Grim, I know you want him dead, but you have to help. And Grim, like, teleports everybody away. Oro saved. He's fine, of course. But basically, Grim and Zed had gotten into, like, a little bit of a sticky situation with the thief. That wasn't really specified or cleared up a whole lot, but basically, yeah, he didn't have access to powers for a little bit, but everyone's fine. While we're, like, really speeding through the end, I don't want to say that the ending was rushed, but I feel like we could have had a little bit more time to draw it out just a little bit longer to, like, really flesh everything, because there was definitely some moments where I was like, I want more from this, but the ending happens pretty fast, so we're jumping all around to different tasks that just, like, need to get done immediately before this, like, next battle. Isla goes to Renlar from the previous book. He's part nightshade. He, like, can do curse stuff. I'll make you a curse blade, so when you stab Lark, she'll be unconscious for a little bit and you can kind of get a leg up. While they're having this chat, Isla's like, if you were in my shoes, like, if the prophecy was about you, who would you choose to kill, Oro or Grim? And he's like, Oro. She's like, but why? And that's when we learn officially that Cronin was the one who put the nexus on everybody, which is, like, the curse that tied the rulers to the people. And if you killed Oro, then the Nexus would be gone, and the rulers would no longer be linked to all of the people. And we also learn from the story about the Sky, Dirt, and Below people that Isla is the only living person who is a descendant of all three, which is interesting. And he says, and I quote, "You, Isla Crown, bring the gods to their knees. The gods are from the other world where the founders are from originally." So yeah, we get a little cursed dagger going on. And then with no real build up, we just jump straight into the next scene where Isla's like handing over the heart of Lightlark to Lark, and it turns into an acorn, and she's like, "What's going on? How dare you?" And then Cleo comes out of the waterworks and is like, "Hey girl, we're gonna kill you." And then Soren shows up, and I know Soren was important from the last book, but it's like, he's here, and I don't know what that all has to do with everything, but that he was mentioned for a brief period of time. But Lark's like, "You betrayed me. Well, don't think I didn't have my own traps." And Remlar falls from the trees dead, and that's why the dagger, when Oro tried to stab her, did not make her pass out. She was fine after like 3 seconds, just a little bit weakened. Isla, in like a panic, blasts everybody, all of the friends and allies, away, teleports them somewhere far away, cuts off her tie to Grimm so that he can't teleport back to her, and then the three, I guess Soren maybe too, but the three of them kind of have like this chat. She's kind of on her own and did not really conceptualize how strong this immortal being from centuries, hundreds and hundreds of years ago, thousands-year-old, whatever, like, did not really think about how powerful she would be. So now she's been trapped. The bracelets that Isla used to control her magic are back on her wrists, put on by Lark, so she can't take them off. Lark is basically like, "I'm gonna leave you down in the ground forever, for as long as I was. Eventually you'll come around. I'll send you bits and pieces of Grimm and Oro so that, like, you'll eventually comply to what I need from you, but, like, I don't need the heart. I have you instead. I just need you to work for me, and all I really have to do is kill you, and then when you come back, I'll have all of your powers." And then this is where, like, my issues with the book really come in, because it is all just so convenient. Everything happens perfectly. There's stakes, but not really, because you know everything's going to work out and be fine by the end. And so I, to some degree, understand where Alex Aster is coming from. If I was trapped underground, no access to my powers, all by my lonesome for a whole week, I too would probably be really into my thoughts. But the way that it happens so quickly is like, sure, Jan, you know? Isla being alone with her thoughts, she's thinking back to Poppy and Tara, her guardians, who were like adamant that they did not kill her parents. She used Oro's flare, so she knew they were telling the truth, and she's thinking about it further. She's like, well, if they didn't kill my parents, why wouldn't they tell me who did? And she goes, oh my god, because I must have killed my parents. Which feels like, honestly, such like a illogical jump, but she gets there. And then she's thinking about what her flare might actually be. She's like, oh, well, I killed Aurora and my parents and so many other people, including the blacksmith, so clearly my flare must be that if I kill somebody, I absorb their power. Which, again, felt like such an illogical jump. Like, I don't know how she came to that conclusion, but, like, go off, queen. Happy for you. So she understands. She absorbed the blacksmith's magic, and she's like, cuffs off. I'm out of here. She fucking, like, opens the ground and, like, blasts out. Meets back up with the gang. Kind of devies out, hands out the different tasks that everybody needs to work on, and she's like, I'll be back. I have my own little thing I need to do. She takes Lynx to her dad's island, and Lynx is like, I know this place. I'm familiar. They ride off into the jungle, the forest, whatever, and she's like getting glimpses of Lynx's memory of watching her parents like build this house that she comes across. She's like, I've been traveling this island for so long, and I've never seen this house. What the heck? She goes inside, and she finds a note from her father, and he's basically explaining their different flares and how they met and how they survived with the curses, how they were able to fall in love. And we know that her father, his flare was that he wasn't like affected by any curses, and her mother's flare is that she can see the future, and that they didn't want, in this part, again, the magic's a little hazy, I'm not questioning things, but basically they didn't want Isla to have this like future seeing capabilities, so they like put it in a vial so she can have the choice for it, which is cool, I guess. So when she killed her mom, she didn't absorb that power. he explains that that's like their flares. They knew that when her mom gave birth that they were going to die and leave her, but they thought like that was worth the risk and that they wanted to love their daughter, and like that was their final thing. And I got really teary-eyed reading this letter. It was really sweet, and I just like I'm a little puddle about it. But he said that because of her vision, he knew that she would read that exact letter on a very important day. So yeah, we know that she takes the vial. She does not consume her mom's gift, but she has like the vial on her wrist. After returning from the island, after this like heartfelt moment with her father that she never got to meet, she pulls on her necklace and she is back with Grimm. And this is like right before they're off to battle. Like she reaches out to Grimm. She's like, hey, I got an itch. I need you to get down and nasty with me right now, right here. And she's like telling him that she loves him and that she's sorry for everything. But he's like, you want to do this just like in case we die? That's all right. Yeah, like down. I will do anything you ever ask of me, queen. But yeah, so they bang one out, and she's like thinking about like how she loves the both of them, how her heart's in two halves of her love these people. It's like, I get it, but I do just need to brag that like right before the big battle, she did choose to see Grimm and sleep with him. So I don't know. Sorry, Oro girls. Now, the next battle honestly happens really quick. Like, we've got 10 pages from this point. So she's going to have everybody down on the ground, and the people on the ground are going to fight the undead armies, while she and Wraith are up in the sky to fight the storms. So the storm is happening, and then Lark, on a 6-headed creature thing, comes out. Isla somehow just destroys all 6 heads. That falls to the ground and dies. And they think they've won. And then Grimm and Oro are waiting for Isla to show up so that they can all do this portal thing together, and Isla ends up alone with Lark and Cleo. So we thought that we won, but then we didn't, and then she's like, Cleo, now! After Isla's like kind of caught, kind of trapped, she's like, Cleo, now! And Cleo's like, got it, and starts attacking Lark and flips on her because there was a off-page conversation deal between Isla and Cleo that we were not privy to. Still, by the end of the book, I don't know what that deal was, but Cleo helps weaken Lark just enough so that Isla's able to teleport her straight to the maze. And then we get our first Oro chapter. And Oro and Grimm are like pacing the blacksmith home, being like, where is she? She said that she needs all of us, like what's going on? And then Oro goes, oh my god, she didn't tell me the plan because she knew I could tell she was lying. That's why she only told you. And Grimm's like, why the heck would she lie? And he's like, she doesn't need our abilities. She has access to our powers. We don't need to be there. She can do everything on her own. And that Isla is planning to sacrifice herself so that she can get around the prophecy and not make a choice on who to kill. Oh, the things that you will do to keep people alive. But that's also when Oro lets slip the prophecy. And Grimm is like, what prophecy are you talking about? What do you mean? What? Because there was like a moment between Isla and Oro that I didn't mention where she's like, oh yeah, so this is my prophecy. This is like what's going on with me. Because she's so pick and choose about what information she tells who and when. And then we get our final Isla chapter, where it's her and Lark talking at the entrance of the maze. And Isla's like, look, I knew Celeste pretty well. I don't think Aurora would have put part of her soul into a feather. But I think that makes a lot of sense for you, Lark. And Isla somehow, in this time span, put together that it was actually a part of a Lark's soul in the feather. And when Isla used her blood on the feather to cast the Skyer, she's the reason that Lark got freed. But then that leaves me, how did Zool come across this feather? Did I miss that? Was it not explained? Is Zool bad now? But basically, Isla now has Cronin's sword, which she'll need because she's planning to go to the other world. And she's planning to find him, and now she has this weapon to do so. Because she's realized that when she goes into the other world, Lark's power will be at its fullest. Lark's power is obviously that she can resurrect people, but when she's on Lightlark, she doesn't have quite the same power, and it doesn't work to its fullest potential, which is why like everybody's kind of like a zombie half-dead situation. So Isla's new plan is to go to the other world with Lark, I guess find Cronin. I don't know how that fits into the puzzle piece, but basically she's going to kill Lark on the other side so that she can absorb Lark's power, come back to Lightlark, and resurrect all of her dead friends. And also just like the people that she's killed, I guess. I don't know if that applies to the bad people, but... And in the final piece of her chapter, we get the title reveal, and we learn what skyshade is, which is actually what the other world is called. So, of course, we have that little lore drop that she learned from the Augur, because it was like written on the skull or parchment or something of the prophet, because the prophet didn't want to forget the name, because like the longer you're at Lightlark, the more you forget. So yeah, we get the big name drop, and then Grimm's final chapter. First chapter, but also the final chapter. And our poor sweet Grimm is like, she told Oro about the prophecy because she trusts him. It's like, bud, she chose to sleep with you before she yeeted herself into another dimension. Yes, at the end of the book, we learn both Isla and Lark are gone from the center of the maze, along with the casket, and all that is left is a charred circle and one single white feather. End scene. Done. Oh my gosh. So yeah, that's it. That's what happens in Skyshade. It's honestly kind of crazy, like especially the end. I do wish the pacing was a little bit different. I really enjoy how fast-paced it is and like how much we get to see those tender moments mixed with like the quest moments. It is a very quest-heavy book, like very like off to different objectives story. So you're 3 books deep, you enjoy it clearly, but I do really like it about it. I do wish though that like some of the pacing was a little bit different and that we focused on some different things, because I feel like the last 100 pages were so interesting yet not explained far enough that I like fully grasped everything that was happening. So that was kind of a shame, but yeah, I did really enjoy this. I thought it was a lot of fun. I love these characters. I really enjoyed my 32 pages with Grimm in the cold. What we know about book 4, Crowntide, is that we will be getting all 3 POVs, one from Isla, Oro, and Grimm. I'm really, really hoping that whoever is going to end up narrating the Grimm and Oro novellas is going to be the same narrators for each chapter of the final book. I think that'll be incredible. I like that it's just 3. I don't like when a book introduces so many new perspectives, but I think 3 is healthy and good, especially with this group, because I feel like as much as Grimm and Oro are going to be working together, I feel like they're not going to get along super well, or maybe they'll fall in love and this is when we get Polly. I'm going to keep trying to push it. Anyway, I do believe that the 4th book is the final book. So there's 5 in this world together. Alex Astor just recently announced their adult romantasy pick. So I do think that this is going to be the end of Lightlark in the series, which I think is exciting for Alex Astor. I know they're very excited for this, I think, going to be smutty, like real smutty adult romantasy. Very excited to see how that goes. But like I had mentioned, I will be doing a Crowntide plot recap for those who have given up on the series and just want to know what happens, or for those who just, enjoy these videos and wants to relive it but not have to sit through like 11 plus hours, I'm sure. If you're interested in the Grimm and Oro novellas and you want to hear my thoughts and recap of that before jumping into Crowntide, let me know. I am planning to read it on kickoff Booktober sprints, hopefully October 1st if I get my copy in time, but if not, I will work on it anyways, and I will take notes while I read it and have that video up for you guys in October if that is desired. And I am planning to get Crowntide up in December for sure. So that's kind of my plans with rounding out Lightlark. If you guys like these videos, if you like the deep dives, the plot recaps, let me know if there's other romantasy fantasy series that are ongoing that you want some plot recaps for. I know a bunch of people do these, so I'm not unique or special, but if there's like specific series that you're like, oh please, these ones I need, I don't want to reread them, let me know. I honestly, although these are long videos and it's more work on my end to like take the notes and like record and everything, my camera keeps trying to overheat because it's the summer. I freaking love these videos. I love just talking about books and how crazy they can be sometimes. These ones are so fun. So yeah, if there's more series that you want me to do, let me know. I think I have at least one in mind, so that'll come out hopefully beginning of next year, maybe December. We'll have to wait and see. But yeah, let me know what you guys think. I hope that you guys enjoyed this video, got a lot out of it. If you made it to the end, you have to put a snake down below, of course. Represent the Snake Queen. And I will see you guys for the next one. Thank you guys so much for watching and hanging out. I hope you enjoyed this book or this video as much as me. And I'll see you later. Okay, bye!